Hello everybody, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to solve the 7x7 Rubik's Cube. So before we get into the method, if you enjoyed this video, if you think it was helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. If you have any questions or if you get stuck at any point, leave me a comment. And also check the description, I might have some tips that you can look up. So without further ado, let's get started. So in this tutorial, I'll be expecting you to already know how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, and it would also help if you knew how to solve the other smaller puzzles, 4x4, 5x5, 6x6. That would help, but if not, this method still can be learned right now. So the method that I'm going to show you is called the reduction method. It is the easiest beginner's method for the 7x7 and the other big cubes. And this method can be applied to any number of bigger puzzles, 8x8, 9x9, 17x17. You can solve it the exact same way as what I'm going to show you with this puzzle. So without further ado, let's start solving the first side. So let's go ahead and solve the white side first, this white center. So what we do is we find the white center, and then we rotate these pieces to make the 1x5 bar in the middle. So we need to get these two pieces. And this is also going to be kind of a quicker video, not going super in-depth on how to build bars. So this is what you were looking for to get on the first layer, is the 5x1 middle bar. Next is we want to build these other two side bars. So we can rotate these up to match it up. Look for this piece and move it down. And then we take this piece and finish that bar. Now we just have to put it in without messing up the middle bar, like that. So we do that again for this bar. Just like that. The main trick is to figure out the best ways to solve these bars. You will need, since there are so many different combinations for this puzzle, you will need to just try and figure it out intuitively, because it's impossible to show every different case. So now we need to find or build these 5x1 outer bars with the remaining white pieces. The main thing is when you match these pieces up and you temporarily disrupt these bars, you have to move them out of the way and then move this back, because you do not want to mess these up as you're solving the rest of the puzzle. So you can build the rest of this bar, and then now just move it down to the white side. These pieces, here's the corner, so move it down, middle piece, and then the last one is right here. So what you can do is, this is kind of a tricky case because you can't just move it up. What you can do is you move it up, slide it over, so now when you bring it down, you can move this back over to where it was, move it up, and then insert it. So now we have the white side solved. We move on to the opposite side, which is the yellow, and we do the same thing. We build the 5x1 inner bar, and then the two other halfway bars, and then the outer bars. So that's the whole idea of this method. So once you have this, again, you have to move it out of the way and bring the white back down. You always have to be careful that you do not mess up any other side that you're trying to solve. So I see these three in a row, so I need to just get this piece and then this piece, which I see I have a lot of choices. So I can bring these two down like this. Now I just have to rotate it up, and then you do a U2 and then bring it down. So that put this bar here and brought the white back to where it was. So you can build the other inner bar like this. Now what you have to do is you can't move it up, do a U2, that doesn't work. So what you have to do is do a U2 to have it in this place. So now when you do an R, it kicks this one out. So when you do a U2 and you do a R prime, it brings the white back to where it was, and it brings this yellow back. So that's how you insert the bars when you have two of them. So now you just insert, or you build the outer bars. I'm going to do it kind of quick because otherwise this video is going to be really long. So this is another tricky case. So you have both the corners up here. So you can bring one of them up, but then when you bring this one down, you can't just put it in. So you do an R, U prime, R prime. So now you can just bring it up, slide it over, and then when you bring it back, it'll solve the yellow side. So once you have the white side and then the yellow side solved, you can move on to the center, the other four centers. So again, the technique is the same. So we can start with this orange. You can move this up, and then you find the middle piece to create the middle 1x5 bar. Now you just need to build these inner bars. So the main thing is you put either the white and yellow on the left and right. So now all the four inner bars are like this. And the important thing to realize, you can only turn the outer layers other than when you're moving the pieces up. Because if you turn like this, it'll mess up the white center that you've already solved. Also the yellow. So you can only turn these layers and then the flat layers that will not mess up the white or yellow. So now you build the inner bars. Now you get the other one. Bring this piece down, and then bring it all the way back down to the orange. So then now you can move this into place. I see the orange corner, so I can move it over here. So when I do an L2, it'll put it into place. Now I can move it up to the orange. Just to speed things up a little bit, I'm going to skip some of the steps. It's just repetitive, so you build the 1x5 inner bar, and then you build the two outer bars, and then the all the way outer bars last. So next, you have three centers solved, so you go to the next one right next to it, which is blue. So again, I'd build the 1x5 inner bars, then the outer ones. Once you have the blue side solved, now you have four centers solved. So next you have the last two centers. So these are going to be the most difficult because you can't just move it up. You have two other centers right here that you have to worry about messing up. So let's do the red side. So I see this middle bar you want to start with has only this piece that we have to bring down. So I can do this, bring it, and then turn the layer, and then return the blue. So now I have the 1x5. You don't want to solve, you don't care about any of the green, you only want to worry about the red, because once you solve the red side, the green will be automatically solved because there's nowhere else for them to go. So the last two centers are a little bit different because you want to start with the middle and then you want to solve one of the inner bars. So like this one only needs one piece. So if it's right here, there's a little trick you can do. So you bring up just that layer, you do a U move, you bring that blue back down, which will put that piece in the place. So now, how to insert it is you bring it down, rotate the red side twice, and then bring the blue back up. So now you have two. This is a good trick to do. Other than the other centers, you want to solve the outer bar on this side first. So the outer bar, there's these two pieces and then these two. So I can rotate it up, but also at the same time I can rotate this corner up. And then now I rotate it out of the way, bring the blue down, and then now all I have to do is bring this down. So this is what you want. You want basically this half of the center solved first. If you do the three inner ones, you're going to have a little bit more trouble. So now we would solve the inner piece. So I can bring these two up, do a U2, and then bring it back down to solve that. So now the only piece left is this piece, which I can't bring up anywhere. So what I'm going to have to do is it's down here. So now I would have to put this in the place to where I can kick it out of the way so it's not being messed up. So now I can rotate this layer freely. So now I want to move this piece over to this position where I need it. So I do that, and once I have that, I rotate the blue back down. So now I can move this over and then insert this piece that I need up there and move it out of the way. Actually, move it out of the way, bring the blue back down. So now how to insert this is you rotate both the layers up, U2, and then realign the layers. So now you only have this outer bar left. So now is when I will talk to you about commutators. Commutators is the technique. Actually, we can, what you want to do is you want to solve, you have the middle, the very middle piece, and then you want to solve either one or both of these next pieces. So what I can do is I can rotate it up, rotate it back down. So now if I have one of the inner pieces right here and the middle on the opposite side, I can rotate the middle piece down, do a U2, and then rotate the middle piece, the middle layer up. So what that did is it switched this red with this green piece so that now they're matched up. And what I can also do next is I can't get this other red inner piece solved right now, so I'm going to get the corner. So what I can do is I can move the corner up. So when I move the layer like this and then move it back down, it'll solve the corner. So then all you have to do is to insert all these red pieces so that all you have is 2 more pieces to solve. So here is when you use the commutator. A commutator is a short algorithm that it'll look weird, but it will solve these 2 pieces only. So what you have to do is put them both on the right side, and this will work with any of the pieces if you don't have one of them. So what you have to do is you leave these layers where they are, you twist 5 layers up so it creates kind of a bar right here. You do a U prime, and then you rotate that tall layer down. You do a U, then you rotate this unsolved layer up, do a U prime, and then move the red back up. So that solved those 2 pieces only. And then now you have these centers solved. So now is when you solve the edges. So if you are a beginner to the reduction method, I will go over the basics of edge pairing. So edge pairing is you basically, if I was a beginner, I would probably start with the white side on facing up, and then the yellow side facing the floor. So what you can do is you want to slice these middle layers to match up, so like these yellow and blue. So there's a yellow and blue right here. So you want to slice this middle layer over and match these pieces. So then next we see this yellow and blue. So we can insert this right here, so we can just slide it over and match it up with the others. So we can put it right here, insert it like that, and then slice this middle layer over to match it up. Next we see this blue and yellow, so we can insert it right here like this, and then slide that piece over. So now once we have all 5 edges, we can move it up. We can bring in these random edges in its place and bring it back down. You don't have to realign all the layers every time. If you want to, just to play it safe, you can, but just as long as you don't like leave a layer misaligned and then make other moves, you do not want to do that. So now you can look for other pieces. So the yellow and green, you can insert the yellow and green. You want to make sure that you're, like if they're right here next to each other, that this color is not the same as this color. Because if it is, if they are the same color, once you move this over, it will be switched. So what you have to do is to take it out, put in random edges, then you want to insert it like this so that they are opposite colors and they will be matched up. So you just want to keep doing that until you get another edge. So now we put the solved ones up here on the white side, so you can bring it up and then bring in random edges, bring it back down. You want to solve these 4, and then once you have those 4 solved, you flip the cube over so the yellow side is facing up, and then you want to continue to solve the edges, and then solve these 4 up here too. So once you have that, I will show you what to do. A really good trick that you're going to need to know is once you're pairing these edges, if there's this piece that's left, if it's over here and it's the same color, in order to just flip this edge around so that it's up here now, there's an algorithm, a really quick algorithm that will help you out. So it's called the flipping algorithm, and I'll put the algorithm on the screen. So it goes like this. So you hold these two in front and you do this algorithm. The front side. So now that flipped this edge from being down here to up here, so you can just go ahead and slide it over. Now once you have that, you just bring it up. Once you have 3 edges up here, you can't kick it up and then there's nothing here. So what you can do is you put it in line with one of the solved ones, kick it out, bring in these random edges, and then bring it back down. So now you have these 4 solved. Next you'd have to solve these 4, and then we'll go from there. So once you have the 4 solved up here, and then you have the 4 solved up on the other side, you want to realign all of the centers. So the blue goes over here, red, blue goes over here, and then just like that. So now you're down to the last 4 edges. So this is a little bit tricky, because if I wanted to move this green and orange over here and then insert random edges, there are no random edges up here. So what I have to do is, if I want these 2 pieces, I can put these random edges on the top side while bringing in one of the solved ones into the middle. So now when I rotate this green over, I can insert these random edges just like we've done before, and then now to return this to solved, you just realign this center. So that's the whole strategy for the last 4 centers. Also, if you have like this orange and yellow, and you can just bring it over here, it doesn't have to be right next to each other. You can rotate the layer twice. So now you can bring it up, random edges, and move it back, and it will return this solved one to solved. So you just keep doing that. I would probably solve a complete edge, not just like one piece here, one piece there. Solve a complete edge. So I can bring this one in so that it's pieces right here, while also bringing in random edges to the top. So now when I move it over, I can be careful on, if I insert it here, it will destroy this little chunk. So I can do the flipping algorithm to flip it around and then bring the layer back. So now I have this edge solved, so I have 3 left. So what's also a helpful tip is if you have 2 pieces right next to each other that are flipped, and you have this piece that you could just move over, what you can do is you can move this piece over, and then right here with the layer misaligned, you do the flipping algorithm, which is on the screen. Then when you realign the layer, it will put this piece in the correct position. You can do the same thing for these outer edges. So it's right here, so we can rotate it twice because that didn't mess up anything. So now when I move this over to solve it, I don't have to insert random edges, I just have to flip this edge around using the flipping algorithm. So when I move the layer back, it will just solve that edge. So now we're down to the last two, which you are going to use the flipping algorithm a lot, so make sure you got it practiced. So now in this case, this is a little bit tricky case, there's no green and orange matching the center. You want to build it around the centers. So what you can do is you can move this these two pieces over. You can do the flipping algorithm, move it back, so that now when you can do that same technique. So these two pieces, you can kick these ones out, do the flipping algorithm. So when you move it back, it'll solve this edge. So then all you have to worry about now is the edge parity. Okay, so the edge parity, you could either have one of a couple options. So this one would be the worst, where you have each other piece flipped around. You would have to do the parity algorithm twice. So usually I like to start with the inner pieces. So in this, then the algorithm is really long, so I would take a screenshot when I put the algorithm up, or write it down or something. You're going to need a lot of practice to memorize this. So you want to hold the edge just in the front top, and each R move on here, if you're doing the middle pieces, you want to turn 3 layers on each side. So the algorithm goes like this: up, up, down, up, left side up, right side up, right side down. Then you do a rotation, so the top side that you're seeing right now, make it the front side. So now you do right side down again, and then turn the middle layer up. So that flipped these two pieces around and solved these two inner pieces. So now the outer ones, we do the same algorithm, only turning 2 layers. So again, here it is. Do a rotation. Middle layer up. So that solved the edge parity. So now all we have to do, we've completely reduced the puzzle, so the reduction method reduced the puzzle to a 3x3 stage. So now if you only turn the outside layers, it works exactly like a 3x3. So this are like, you build the cross just like the same way, and then you do F2L, and you don't have to know any advanced method for solving the 3x3. You could use the beginner's method. So you just solve it just like a 3x3. And again, I'm not going to show that in this video. You should already know how to solve a 3x3. So So then now we do PLL. So that is how you solve the 7x7 Rubik's Cube. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next video.